or good afternoon, whenever you guys are watching this video, and welcome to our third edition of MeBe Cooking. Today we are going to cook one of my favorites and most of our friends' favorites, a grilled cheese. So I have some whole wheat toast here. This is something to think about. Does your child eat whole wheat toast or do they only eat light toast? Either way, you're gonna pick the toast that is gonna be best matched to what your child does eat. I have some cheddar cheese and I also have some Swiss cheese. So a lot of our kiddos will only eat one type of cheese because of the color, the way that it tastes, the way that it smells. This is something to think about for some of our picky eaters. Will they tolerate a different cheese? Will they tolerate a different shape? Will they tolerate a different color, a different shade of the cheese? So if it's not this bright orange, maybe it's a little bit less. These are things to think about when you have a picky eater, and it's ways that we can subtly shift or introduce new foods without any pressure of eating them. So today you will see both of these. I will show you the difference between all of them, and we will make a couple different grilled cheese and cut them in lots of fun patterns to kind of help reduce that food jag. So a food jag is when we eat the same food the same way over and over and over, and we suddenly don't want to eat that food anymore. We naturally are able to avoid having a food jag as adults. So I can eat pizza 3 nights in a row and then I can feel like I never want to eat pizza again. I don't actually never want to eat pizza again, but I know in my brain that I'm going to stop eating pizza for a little while until it sounds good again. For our kiddos who have such a limited diet, that's not really an option. So when they have only grilled cheese and chicken nuggets and french fries because they are such a picky eater and they're so limited, it is really dangerous when they do lose one of those foods because they are the core foods that they're eating. So this is a way to kind of start thinking about feeding therapy as well as having fun while cooking. So our first step is going to be bread. Can't do anything without the bread. Sorry, I hit that pan. So the bread is going to be something that we are going to talk about. It is closed, right? Some of our kids can open this, some of our kids can't. As I said in our last video, the best therapy tool you have is a closed box, a closed cheese. So use these opportunities to your advantage. When you first buy that cheese, when you first buy that toast, or if you're able to do it each time when your child doesn't know how to, also be careful. We don't want them ripping a hole so you can't use the bag anymore. So if your child can't do this, skip this step, move on to the cheese. This is something that's probably not gonna break. But this is a great time to offer. How many pieces do we need? It's a great language opportunity. What do we need to do? Open bread. I like to point a lot to options that we are using instead of always using some simple signs because I don't actually know the sign for bread. If I wanted to learn the sign right now, I would go on Google and I would look up sign for bread and I would figure out how I could either approximate it for the child that I'm working with or use the exact sign that is on Google. And for this, I don't really know it, so I'm just gonna point to bread. This helps to reference. I'm not just opening. We don't just open tons of things. We have to open a specific object or open a door or open a car. So we're gonna open bread and we're gonna pull. Okay. We can have our child snip this, right? Ooh, I smell it. It's not a strong smell. It's a bit of a yeasty bread smell. And so this is a great way to have your child who does not eat bread interact with bread with no pressure. So we're gonna touch it and we're gonna pull out bread. Okay, how many pieces do we need? Okay, we're gonna get 2. All right, I have 1, 2 pieces. Okay, where do they go? They go on my head? No, they don't go on my head. That's so silly. They go on the plate. Another thing you can do is play with the food. So this can often feel very strange. And it can, I know it gets messy and I know we don't like things in our hair or on our face or in our mouth, but this is how we have kids learn about food. So I can make this into a bread hat. Whoa, no hands. I can sneeze it up, achoo. I can do peepholes, right? Peekaboo. So you can play with this food and new ways to help your child learn. And then you just shake out the crumbs and you move on with your day. So if your child does not want to touch it, we're not forcing them. We are not forcing them to take bites. We are not forcing them to touch things. And we don't say, just touch it. We can say, oh, you can touch it. You can poke it, poke, poke, poke. You can play with it like a drum, boom, 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 boom. And this, it just creates this fun opportunity. You take off the pressure. You're having fun. And the biggest thing, you have to be having fun. So if you say, just hit it, your child's not going to hit it. But if I say, ooh, I can play the drums, boom, 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 boom. Suddenly I become an object of fun, and if you're an object of fun, they are much more likely to buy in. So remember that, you've got to be having fun as well. So now we have 2 pieces of bread. What do we need next? This is a great way to sequence for our older kids. So what do we put on? Do we put on the cheese first or do we put on the butter first? Are you going to be using butter? Are you going to be using olive oil? Talking about these steps are really great plans. You can even talk about them beforehand. You can write it down on a piece of paper. Okay, first we need bread. Next we need cheese. Where does the cheese go? The cheese goes on the bread. So then we put cheese on the bread. Last we close the sandwich and we put butter on both sides. Depends on how you do a grilled cheese. Do you butter the sides first? Do you put the cheese on? You can also work on flexibility for some of our kiddos who are very rigid and they like things done the same way every time. Maybe you switch it up a little bit and you work on some flexibility. So there's lots of things to target while making a fun grilled cheese. So I'm going to start in our traditional way for me and my family, and I'm going to put butter on the outside, so some language to use with our little kiddos. You could use a little kid knife that's safe in this or help your child. So we're going to go down on the butter. We're going to push, and then we are going to spread. Okay, so that's a great vocabulary term to use for our kiddos. You can talk about why this much butter is too much. So for some of our older kids, we can talk about quantity. How much should we put on? Why is that too much? What do you think is gonna happen to our grilled cheese? So great hypotheticals to work on for even our older kiddos that we're working on some language as well. So I'm gonna put it on, spread, 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 spread. And then we're gonna talk about, for our older kiddos, okay, how do you know you put enough butter? How do you know when it's done? And that's going to be different based on who you are as a family and how much butter you put on. If you have a child who is dairy-free or lactose intolerant, you can also use different types of butters, or not even use butter at all. But this is a great way to talk about spread. And where does it go? It goes on the toast. Do we put it on our head? No. If we touch it, how does it feel? It's greasy, right? So what can I do? I'm getting really nervous. It's on my hand. Oh, you can use a towel. Oh, you can wipe it off. That's okay, I know it feels greasy. You can wipe it off. Next, we have our cheese. So if you have 2 pieces of cheese, you can do a choice of 2. Okay, should we do our orange cheese or should we do our white cheese? What should we pick today? This can help your child to learn choices and also feel like they are in control. So if white cheese is a new cheese, we don't have to use it, but we can reference it and we can visually have it in our sight. And then we can offer a choice. So this offers some language opportunities. Okay, we picked orange cheese. Oh, orange cheese, okay, here's the whole package. There's no way they're opening this, right? I have a hard time opening this and I need scissors. So this is something to talk about with your child. So you hand them the cheese and they cannot do it. Okay, what are we gonna do? Can't open. Oh, should we pull? Mom, help. Okay, help open cheese. Help open the cheese. And then we can talk about rip, right? We can rip it. Pull, pull, pull. See how I pulled half of it and there's still a piece left? This is where I would give it to my child and I would say, okay, your turn, pull. And I would help them pull. This helps them be part of the activity. I started it, they asked for help, and they are going to complete and play with me. Pull, yay! Okay, open, pull. Great. So now what I can do is I can have either them reach in and grab the cheese themselves, or if that's too nerve-wracking for them, I can take it out and I can say, okay, let's put the cheese on. I offer the opportunity. If my kid goes like this, I say, oh, Mom, you help, or Nikki, you help. And they say, okay, cheese goes. I'm so silly, I threw it. Did you see that? I made it. Okay, should we throw? See how I turned that from a nerve-wracking activity into a fun activity where we are throwing cheese. Cheese is no longer to eat. Cheese is an object that we throw. So this becomes something that's fun. Now, I'm not throwing it on the ground. I'm throwing it onto the plate and I'm making a fun noise while doing it. And then I celebrated when I made it on top. So I might offer that opportunity again. You wanna try and throw? Can you make it? Can we get it on? Okay, are you ready? On your mark, get set. Maybe I have them help me push my hand. Okay, push Mom's hand. Ready? Push Nikki's hand. Ready? 1, 2, 3, push! Wow, we did it! Okay, So bread, it goes on, and we're gonna push. Okay, our grilled cheese is ready. What do we need next? So this is a great thing for our older kiddos. What do we need? We need a pan. Okay, where does the pan go? The pan goes on top of the stovetop. All right, so what we're gonna do next is we are going to cook a couple grilled cheeses. I'm going to use a few with some white cheese, a few with some orange cheese, and a few a bit mixed, and then we're gonna talk about all of our options. So I will be right back. Okay, so now I have my grilled cheese sandwiches. The nice thing about having different cheeses is you can't really tell from the outside. So this isn't a huge change, it's a bit of a subtle change. Now, we don't want to just surprise our kiddos, because if we surprise them, they might be really nervous and they might not trust what we are going to give them. So we are going to talk about it. Something also to do, so if your child only eats orange grilled cheeses, okay? So they only eat the grilled cheese that has the orange cheese. What I'm going to do is we can cut them in different ways. So if you typically cut it down the middle, try cutting it as a triangle, or try cutting it into fourths. This is a great way to help your child not food jog. We're actually changing the property of the food without changing any of the taste. So it's just the visual piece that is changing. Now this might be too much. So what you can do is, instead of right down the middle, just slightly over. See how now this is a smaller piece and this is a bigger piece? Maybe this is how I help them, and then I cut it into strips. So thinking about your child, what is going to help them the most? How flexible are they? How intense are they on this food? How nervous are they? You have to make these decisions and kind of trial and error them. What we're not going to do is we're not going to make too big of a change first, right? So I'm not going to make all these different changes, cut this in a different way with the white cheese. It's the first time presenting the white cheese, and I'm going to give them a brand new sandwich. We often think that, okay, this is a sandwich, it is the same thing, it's just a little bit different of a taste. It's still a grilled cheese. Well, it's not a grilled cheese. So this no longer has orange cheese, therefore it's no longer a grilled cheese. That's how much sometimes little changes will really affect our kiddos. I have kiddos who won't eat yogurt if the yogurt comes open. They won't eat a banana if the banana comes open, because that is no longer a banana to them. The banana it comes whole within the yellow peel. It doesn't have any brown spots, and then I watch it open. The yogurt, it has to be a specific brand, right? You can give them the same flavored yogurt. It tastes exactly the same to us, but it is not if it has a different container on the outside. That is why we try not to show labels. The reason we try not to show labels is because we want them to be flexible eating that type of food. So I typically present foods already out of the containers. And I try to match foods to what they already like. So I'm going to show you, we're going to cut this one down the middle. Okay, I'm going to cut this one like triangles. So if you have a kiddo who really likes shapes, great thing to do. And then sometimes you can have them request, okay, so what shape should we do next? Should we do baby triangles? Okay, let's do some baby triangles. And I'm going to cut it right down the middle on both sides. And now I have 3 grilled cheeses. Some are a little bit different. Some have white cheese. Okay, some have orange cheese. Ooh, look at that. Okay, they all smell relatively the same, even though one is Swiss and one is cheddar, but they're going to look different, and they might be presented in the same way. I might say, okay, I have an orange grilled cheese and I have the white cheese. Let's play with our food. What are we gonna do? Something you can do too is, oh, mommy's gonna take a baby bite. Did you see how tiny that was? That was so little. I take a mousy bite. It was so little. I can smell it. Oh, wow. I can give it a kiss. Okay, I can kiss it bye-bye. Goodbye. So there's lots of different things that you can do to interact with the food. My hands are greasy. I can smell the food. It's presented visually in front of me. So we are learning about grilled cheeses and possibly learning about new cheeses. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that this helps. We'll see you again soon.